like in that previous video I showed you guys when I did the power steering pump. Saved her all that money because they told her it was going to be a transfer case. Well, I mentioned that she had a few other issues that we're going to get to. The next day, there's the starter. It won't start. So, of course, she's going to save more money and get that baby fixed. And we can put it towards something else in case of an emergency. And the reason why she's going to save that kind of money is because she made a good choice. Then first, baby, back on that Chevy Traverse. 2 days later, they had replaced the battery. Obviously, because what I mentioned in the last video when test driving this vehicle, it needed a starter. But before I ended up doing the power steering pump, they replaced the battery, recommended the power steering pump like I said, and a few other things like oil change and stuff. Well, when I had it, first thing I could tell when I went to move it is the starter was weak. It wasn't starting right. So I told her in the test drive on the video to get ready to do that starter. Starter on this one's another 3-4 hour job. It's behind the actual engine mount, or you can take the exhaust down and get it from right there behind the converter. Removing the converter is not that hard, so it's either and or for whoever's preference. I'm going to go ahead and get the started, but first, saving her hundreds of more dollars now to put towards something else. Yeah, people would say I'd have junked it. Yes, Christ, man. Don't ever do that to yourselves. I'm telling you, this is not going to be anything compared to what a first payment would have cost you in a down payment for the vehicle. Calm down. That first in your corner, always every day. I'll be back on that starter replacement to show you guys what's going on. Here, I'll give you a demonstration of what it's doing. Listen. Clicking at the starter. Battery power up to 12 right there on the dash. Watch, boom, 12. Done. I'm back on that Chevy Traverse. I got that starter out. Doing it at the edge of my driveway. There's the motor mount. There's the bracket. This bolt here on the bracket is the hardest one to get out. If it's too tight, if you strip it, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have to take off the converter. And doing that, you'll still have to do some snaking around to get this converter out of here. It's easy to get out, really. These two bolts seem like they'll come out nice and easily. The 3 on top ain't going to be no problem. But it still makes it a little bit more difficult when accessing the 13 for the back of the power on the starter. This little guy right here, that's where that bolt's at. So it's really difficult to get your hands around. What you can put a couple extensions right here, and then you got your 15, and you're in and out. Take your time, but first, saving more money every day. If your motor mount's bad, this would be the time to replace it. You can always check it by how much movement you have here. This one still seems pretty good intact, but it's been leaking. Recommend it for later. No big deal. There's your starter. Starter is no longer engaging. Restart, the motor mount off and the bracket. Let's test that new starter, make sure that new starter is doing its job. I did not test the new starter before putting it in because usually you just try to trust the manufacturer to do their job, but let's do it before I put everything back together. And boom, just like that, 100%, pow. Let's get it. Finish up the job now, putting everything back together. Fix them door pins. These things are gross, I can fix those no problem. All right, so now that the starter's done, I'll finish putting everything back together. I'll recommend a few more things. Got a little bit going on over here on this side, but that's up for her to find out, not for you guys yet. Stay tuned. Before you guys tighten any of these bolts down to that bracket, we're putting the bracket up first, putting the motor mount on behind it. Following, there's a guide pin right here next to the bolt. You'll see this little guide pin. Spin it to the guide pin. Okay, see if, there you go, that little pin right there hits its location. Go ahead and just thread a little bit on the top and bottom. Start threading all 4 of these in, okay? And before you let go of that jack and the pressure, and you want to pick that engine up with the board on the aluminum pan, enough to be able to get the bracket and the mount on. I'm sure you can fight it and do it without it like I did getting it out, but getting it back in is a tough one, okay? So just do it that way. Get all your bolts kind of all the way tight, but don't tighten them all the way until you get that 4th bolt, the real pain in the ass one that goes in from here, okay? It goes in from this side right here and around that way. And what it does, it goes out right there by the oil filter, but don't take the oil filter off. Just a little heads up for you guys. Here's my final video for the starter replacement on this Traverse. One thing I want you guys to know is remove this 19mm first off the top of that motor mount. I'm gonna take some extensions to get to it, and make sure that's the last bolt you actually tighten. I already tightened the bottom one, so go ahead and tighten the top one. Job's done, just like that. It's wonderful when you know what you're doing in comparison to people who don't. Well, I encourage everybody to try to learn, but don't do it on somebody else's time. Bang. Let's make sure we got one more verification it starts. Of course, I already did it once. I'm just doing it for fun. Ready, and go. Starts better than it ever has. Never started any better. We'll do the flex pipe next. This baby will be ready to roll. Bed first. Welcome to my office. It's very beautiful. Everything great around me. Doesn't matter if it's rain, snows, wind. I've had it all, and I enjoy it all. Get up if you need anything. Best prices around. Guaranteed best warranty. Best education. 1000% best safety factors. Educate. Know why they're safe. Ask me. I'll tell you. See you later. Chevy Traverse. That's a creeper. Got that flex pipe that's cracked, but I mean, I think it gives it more sound and performance. Let's peep it. Ready? Let's race it. This boy runs real good, man. It drives real nice, so no need to get rid of this thing for another 100,000 miles plus. There's that power steering pump. Leak it 2 different places. Boom. Take this into the quarter day. You already know. First. In the Traverse. Tell me he was a nice guy. Like brand new. All it took was just a little grease. Could have ripped the door right off of the actual B-pillar inside, over flexing it. So just get your service done right with people. Whoever's doing the service, make sure they're doing their job. Grease the door hinges, man. Oh, wait. That first.